Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion and welcome to the TWAB of November the 11th of 2021. Now, this one being from Cosmo back in the office again. This one is an important one, and I will stress this one's covering a future patch, and I will say every detail in this TWAB is something that will be coming hopefully with the December 7th patch. More is likely still to be announced, but this is basically the Guns Sandbox rework as well as some buffs that are going to be coming in addition to Trials Lab this weekend. So, going on about it, they mentioned that there is a new free emblem available. Just download this or put in this code at bungie.net/redeem and you will unlock this emblem for you. It is a transgender awareness emblem if you so wish to grab it. Now, as well, they did mention Trials Lab is going to be back. Capture Zone is back this week. I hope it's still not replacing the original mode just because I prefer simpler trials. But basically, 30 seconds after the round starts, a capture zone is enabled. Players can capture this zone to win the round or just eliminate the other team like normal. However, the capture zone has a waypoint from round start, including a countdown timer, so everyone will know exactly when and where it will be. The capture zone starts in the middle of the map in the first round and changes location each round. Now, changes from last round. We're not using Wormhaven this time around. Instead, this map is going to be Endless Veil for this map. And rather than rotating throughout points given one advantage for either side, basically either going A, B, or C, they're going to go B1, B2, or B3, where they will be at the middle grounds of each area. You'll just have to fight in a different area. So no one should have advantage on capture zone, just basically advantage given by the gameplay. As well, players no longer get super energy when they capture a zone, so hopefully there's no farming by killing two enemies and then capturing a zone and getting supercharged. Now, as mentioned last week, card-based matchmaking is on all weekend with the Flows Pool turning on Sunday at reset, so we won't have, hopefully, some terrible matchmaking like we did last week, and as well, just because Trials Labs, there is 2x Trials Ranked Booster active all weekend. Now, of course, as well, with the 30th anniversary event, like I said, these changes will all be going live December 7th. I'm going to be describing a lot of things here, so this might be a bit of a longer one, but bear with me, folks. Now, changes to some weapons. Shotguns, basically. Shotguns, slugs were doing good, and everything else was not doing well, so they reduced slug shotgun PvE damage bonus, basically the original buff. It is no longer 30% buff, it is now 20% buff, so slug shotguns will be doing a little less damage in PvE, and pellet shotguns, basically every other type of shotgun in the game, is getting a 10% PvE damage bonus. So, slugs are going to be slightly worse, every other shotgun slightly better. Now, as well, for the life of me, I can't understand why they are buffing linear fusion rifles again. Keep in mind, this will be coming at December 7th. We'll still have 3 months of particle deconstruction unless they plan on adding a whole new seasonal artifact during that. So basically, increase PvE damage by 10%. So yeah, linear fusion rifles are getting another buff. Now, as well, this one is something scary to me just because of PvP metas. The caster swords, aka Soulless Scars and Titation's Hook, the heavy ammo cost is now down from 8 to 5, so it'll be cheaper to actually throw out the electric or fiery blade. Now, as well, bows got a buff in Season 11 versus rank and file enemies, and now we'll be getting another buff against rank and file enemies. It's like acolytes, drags, thralls, smaller things. I suppose this is a guarantee so that you don't need to hit a headshot to kill in one shot. Basically, it makes it just more consistently killing. Now, as well as sidearms and fusion rifles, they changed something. For some reason, both of these weapons were not hit scanned. That means you had to lead your targets. But now the projectile speed has gone from 99 to 9,999, which basically makes them hit scan regardless of frame rate. So you shouldn't need to lead targets with fusion rifles or sidearms anymore. You can just aim straight and true. Now, as well, exotic specifically, these are the exotic tunings that's going to be coming. Vex Mythoclast, it's not getting a damage nerf, so you don't have to worry about PvE. Also, this is mainly Crucible nerf. Reduced the aim assist stat by 25. The linear fusion rifle mode aim assist cone scaler is reduced as well, so hopefully the linear fusion rifle form won't be as sticky. And now it requires 3 eliminations to fully overcharge instead of 2 in the Crucible. So that's basically just Crucible nerf. Now, Fighting Lion, they changed a bunch of things here. This wasn't a specific problem, but getting increased frustration with Breach Grenade Launcher Crucible, it seemed like a misstep to say, we hear you, here's an infinite ammo version of that thing you're frustrated about in the same patch. It should be clear to everyone that a full nerf isn't needed. We're adjusting it. Note, this is not a full rollback. There is a difference between almost infinite ammo and actually infinite ammo in how weapons are used. As in playtest, we tried to abuse infinite ammo is extraordinarily oppressive, much more so than the expect given. Basically, they say that there will never be a nerf to fully balance this, except for making it garbage. Now, this is a little bit of a rollback slightly. Now, you don't need to multi-hit to get a the reload buff. Dealing any damage will grant the buff. Increase the buff to the reload stat from 50 to 70 reload stat, i.e. reload will still be slow if you miss, but if you land any damage, Fighting Lion will reload faster than it did before the nerf, as well as an increase to the buff duration to 7 seconds. Basically, if you hit something, you'll have 7 seconds of boosted reload. So, Fighting Lion might actually be usable again. Herbalist. This one is an interesting change. It's known as a shield breaker in the kinetic slot, and there is high utility in PvE, but now it has intrinsic anti-barrier. So in addition to Ariana's Vow, there is one more shield piercer exotic that will make it actually easier throughout this season, with anti-barrier auto being the only thing. Now we have 3 different archetypes for options now that Arbalest is now intrinsically anti-barrier. Now this is the thing that might send Sleeper Simulant onto the King of Damage because of its buff. The mag size is being increased from 3 to 4 rounds and is getting PvE damage buff of 6%. So Sleeper is getting a 16% damage buff. And 1k is being untouched. Yeah, Sleeper might be on top of it for the last half of the season. Now, Suros Regime, this is a change I didn't see coming because I always thought it was in the perfect slot of overpowered Crucible and underpowered everywhere else. But Dual Mode Receiver now grants the following in addition to its current effects. That is the slower rate of fire mode. It gets a range buff and in addition to zoom if you're going with the slow fire. Not the spin up, the slow fire. Now as well, Cryosthesia. This is a buff that I kind of saw coming, but basically, remove variable trigger completely. Now fires on trigger press instead of release. Basically, you don't have to press, hold, and release. It should make it more responsive. And the charge shot has moved to special reload. Get a final blow with this sidearm enables access to the special reload. Think Symmetry, where you would shoot something in the head a few times, then you hit the hold button and you would use the overcharge. It's very similar to that. And once the charge shot is fired, the weapon reverts back to standard sidearm mode. This does not cost you the entire magazine, as well as the charge shot causing an AoE freeze on AI and slowing prayers, direct hit stealth freeze. Now basically the AoE effect, it freezes in PvE and slows in PvP. So you might see an uptick in Cryosthesia use come December. Now as well, this is a change that I did not expect, but is kind of good. Leviathan's Breath, the unused unstoppable heavy bow, got a little buff while also making its catalyst more interesting. Basically, the catalyst now grants Archer's Tempo perk in addition to its other effects. So it gets enhanced ammo capacity naturally as well as Archer's Tempo, which it's hard to say how that's actually going to work on Leviathans, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Whisper of the Worm, the original DPS King, has fallen out of favor, which is why they've buffed it. The delay on activating Whispered Breathing, aka Box Breathing but better, is down from 2.1 seconds to 1.2 seconds, so it will be the bonus damage on precision hits will be triggered faster. White Nail Magazine refill has changed, was 3 from your inventory, now pulls 2 from your inventory and 1 from thin air. So imagine this, you have 20 rounds, you fire the 3 shots, you reload, you get the full mag, you used 2 of the rounds, but 1 of the rounds was from the middle of the air, so you should have 18 rounds left. You fired 3, you full reset, you lost 2, but you gained 1 back from infinite air. So that might actually make it crazy for sustained damage phases. That might be the new Templar Damage King, now that I think of it. As well, increase in damage in PvE by 10%. Now as well, Darcy, another exotic heavy sniper, changes reduced flinch, recoil, and accuracy degradation by 50% when personal assistant is active. Basically, you have the lock on something. Personal assistant now has a 1-second delay before deactivating when off target, was instant, so the residual effects of being locked on will hold for a moment. And increase in PvE damage by 20%, a whole 1/5 damage boost for PvE. So Darcy might be back around as well for high DPS exotics. Now, Malfeasance. For all weapons about that explosion, this hand cannon explosion were a bit underwhelming. Increased explosion damage by 50%. So I believe that is the tainted slugs all exploding on the target. Those now detonate harder. Now as well, Deadman's Tail. We've seen the scout rifle usage drop dramatically in console since the recent nerf, so we spent some time tuning it in a way that benefits controller much more than mouse and keyboard, i.e. we don't believe this buff will improve the weapon much on mouse and keyboard, specifically touching hipfire with the catalyst. No, this isn't actually branching the tuning between input devices, but the bits we touched are either only present or are much more impactful on controller. Increased reticle friction fall-off distance, no effect on mouse and keyboard. Less recoil, reduced effect on mouse and keyboard, and improved accuracy, reduced effect on mouse and keyboard. So this seems to be no actual changes to the gun itself. It's more so changes to benefit use on various archetypes. You know how Deadman's was king on or Last Word is king on controller but crap in PC. It's the other way around this time. It's crap on controller, so now they're trying to make it better for controller. Now, people get to stop worrying about Heir Apparent in the Crucible. Basically, the damage resistance against player damage has been reduced from 75% to 25%. So it will be a life-saving overshield in a 1v1 that you did not expect, but it will not be able to tank so many things from so many different sources, so it won't be just the tanking king anymore. Lawrence Driver. The bonus ability energy feels extraneous when the damage buff is so strong, so limiting certain weapon sources of ability energy. Removed ability energy regeneration on picking up one of the telemetries for its buff. Now as well, Traveler's Chosen. Changes to it now grants 10% ability energy per stack on activation. Was previously more generous on lower stacks, less generous on higher stacks. The average and amount for 10 stacks are unchanged. Reduce stacks on a Guardian defeat from 3 to 2. So basically, everything you kill will give you a stack, and for all that, you'll get 10% ability energy for every stack you have. I forget how many stacks you can actually get, but you should be able to still refill your abilities to full, but it's just a little bit more streamlined. Now as well, perk changes. Adrenaline Junkie. This perk wasn't performing as well as intended, so they changed it up. Eliminations with the weapon can add single damage stacks or extend existing ones. Grenade elimination boosts the stacks immediately to ×5 and lower the duration to compensate for weapon activation. So basically, it's like Swashbuckler and Rampage, except this time it's more focused on grenades. It basically Swashbuckler with grenades when you think of it. You get kills normally, you have a stacking buff, but once you get grenade kills, you stack that all the way to the top. If I can get Demolitionist Adrenaline Junkie, that might be game over. But as well, Vorpal Weapon. They changed Vorpal Weapon. I did not see this coming, but then again, it is pretty much just the meta for all champion activities. Now, perk that grants 15% bonus damage against all targets. I'm going to use my Happy Weapon on. That's a non-choice and sucked all the air out of the room for all of the damage perks. At the same time, it was falling off the original roll, giving players a reason to run a primary weapon against tough targets. Now, it was 10% bonus damage on all weapons, but now it is reworked to 10% damage buff on heavy weapons, 15% on special, and 20% on primary. So Vorpal is not as potent on things meant for damage, it is more potent on things not so much meant for damage. There is no change in the bonus damage against players in Super, this is strictly PvE output. Now, Whirlwind Blade. This is basically the thing where you just stab something a lot and you get bonus damage just because you're stabbing it. The stacks required to hit maximum damage is increased from 5 to 10, so it's harder to get to the top, but no change to the top. It's just harder to get to max output. Now as well, Pulse Monitor was adjusted. They changed the threshold from activation to 90% of your health gone to 30% of your shield. Basically, it's you don't have to get as hurt to damage the reload on Pulse Monitor, so that might actually be beneficial now again. Now, changing some mods. Quick Access Sling. This one is pretty much meta on anything that had low ammo count, so it was only used there, but everywhere else it wasn't. So they changed it a little bit. Functionality change was plus 100% handling, 0.9 ready stow aimed down sight seed, and 0.4 seconds after running out of ammo. Now is 0.9 ready stow speed all the time. You don't have to run out of ammo. Okay. This change also applies to Swap Mag perk, as they have the same perk behind the scenes. I'm not sure what that means. Now, full auto retrofit. We've seen plenty of requests for accessibility options allowing full auto fire, particularly on fast-firing semi-automatic weapons. We have a settings option in the works after the Witch Queen launches, but decided to put in a stopgap to help players until we're able to ship it. Please keep these types of suggestions coming. Added a full auto retrofit weapon mod that enables full auto when triggers held, usable on legendary hand cannons, sidearms, scout rifles, and pulse rifles. So any of these weapons, I don't think full auto will be a perk anymore, especially since they're going to add a setting that will, I think, make every semi-automatic full auto regardless. So we'll just have to wait and see when it actually comes out. This is unlocked by default for all players, so you don't need to hunt it down or unlock it. Now, they do go on the various things. They did mention that some stuff is going to be changing. Exotic weapons already given more finders. They're going to continue to adjusting some exotics, some that are consistently on top of PvP usage charge in an oppressive way. Some have their perk limited to agree. That is no longer what we're looking at you, Chaperone. Okay. Well, I think there might be a Chaperone nerf coming. But of course, they do mention Threads of Light came out again. And personally, I do think that whoever is heading this project doesn't really have much of a fashion sense. I don't mind that Titan. The Titan looks all right. The legs look a little bit weird just because it's like, oh yeah, we got white and green all up here. Oh, we just have random blackness at the bottom. But like this Warlock, he traditionally looks like the average Warlock you would have seen during the Forsaken days. Like I've seen thousands of Warlocks that look like that. I don't know why he's special. The Hunter is kind of unique. Honestly, the color palette, it just seems a bit of atrocious, but that's just my personal thing. I'm a fashionista when it comes to Guardian looks, and so far there hasn't really been any of the Threads of Light option that have really piqued my oh my god, that looks awesome button. So either way, moving forward, they still say submit tag accounts for visibility. If you like to share these, enter blah blah blah. Now, of course, there's going to be more bounties, if you recall, fighting against or fighting with these people. If you win with them or fight against them and win, you will get a special emblem. Now, there is more places announced for Latam in the UN, as well as more options in the UK. So I'm not sure those are the schedules. Now, the full schedule from last week is updated, so if you wish to update those are that. So, there is a calendar's change, but Trials Lab capture zones coming this weekend, but bonus trials ranks will come back as a result. Extra Nightfall rewards have been shifted into next week. Bonus Nightfall rewards next week, as well as some other things. Now, user research emails on the week. Destiny 2 players in the US and Canada were sent an email of a survey of a user research opportunities. Many players have reached out to us, so they haven't received any kind of email from us in a very long time. This could be caused by several different reasons, but the best way to start receiving our email again is go to your Bungie.net profile settings. Under email and SMS, type in a new email. You can't use your old one and check off every box, save the change, blah, blah, blah. This was the first survey that went out about a sort of community outreach program Bungie was doing. They wanted to talk with some people, see why Destiny was so special to them. But as well, hotfix coming. There will be, there was a hotfix that happened. It was very slight changes. Log into the platform next Tuesday, November 16th, and Destiny 2 undergo extended downtime, blah, blah, blah. Now, the known issues, basically, we're investigating increase and Rutabaga errors, whatever those actually do. The Frenzy and Rampage perks and the Rampage Spec mod are all named the same in Chinese. The Wicked Overgrowth shader isn't available for players who completed the Iron Banner quest on all characters before our fix went live to fix the current issue, so that needs to be fixed. If players start the Lost Lament quest on one character and complete it on another, Banshee still tries to give the Broken Blade to the first character to complete the quest that no longer exists. When a Warlock performs a Phoenix dive, they can't slide for 5 seconds. Oh no, that's a problem. Now, that is everything that is recently covered. Per the usual, there is a known issues article. If you have any other issues to report it on the hashtag help forums. Now, there is more movies of the week. I'll just blaze past. What the heck? Whoa. That's cool. Is that in-game? Or hang on, let me see if I can watch this. Is this in-game? Okay, that's a crypt design. So they made a Witch Queen NASCAR. That's actually pretty cool looking. If only that was real. But aside from that, there is more art of the week. Somebody actually cosplayed a fallen dreg with their little elixir beans. That was pretty cool. And of course, some other things regarding other art. Oh, hey, Riven. I didn't see that. Now, that was everything that it was in the TWAB. This one was a long one. There was a lot to read, but of course, that's how it goes when it comes to these TWAB. You want to get every detail that's important. And with that, my name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next one.